Hi there, and welcome back to the Nordic Nurse Investing. My name is Siri, and on this channel, I talk about everything that I've learned about money and investing so far in life. Today, I want to talk about the most important things that I've learned that I want to share, and that I hope that some of you will find helpful or beneficial. My first experiences with money was that it was a means to survive. I learned early on that having money meant I could be independent and manage on my own. When I was young, I was good at working. I managed to get jobs and I managed to always have money coming in, but I was not good at retaining that money and getting that money to grow. And I was getting myself into a lot of debt. I didn't manage to get myself out of debt for a while, but eventually I learned how to do that and how to make my money grow for me. What I learned growing up was the principle of exchanging your time for money. So I would put in the hours and I would get paid, and then that money would go into my bank account. And my bank account was just a normal account, not earning any interest. And that way, my money was just sitting there and losing value accordingly to inflation. So if the inflation is on average about 2%, your money is losing purchasing power on average about 2% every year. And that is what my money was doing. And on top of that, I also had MasterCard debts, and they had an interest, high interest as well, that I was losing a lot of money to. So I was getting the money in, but I was losing it to credit card debts and inflation. Eventually, though, I started reading, learning, and watching YouTube videos about money and putting that into practice. One of the most important things I learned is the concept of making your money work for you and not the other way around. And what that basically means is that when you earn money, that money should be put into work, either by investing it into systems that can earn money for you, or investing it into assets that will grow and earn money over time. I still work hard for my money, and I'm sure many of you do as well. And it's a shame then if that money that you work hard for should be put into losing value, either losing value through credit card debts or through inflation, by not putting it into any savings account with interest, or not being invested in anything that can make that money grow. And that is one of the main lessons and most important lessons that I learned in my money journey so far. That is making your money work for you. So one of the first things I did was getting rid of my MasterCard debt. I used to have a habit of using MasterCards whenever my salary was spent. So every month I would run out of money, and I would always use then a bit of my MasterCard to pay for daily expenses. And it turned into like a vicious circle of every month I would pay back some of my MasterCard debt, but then I would overspend and spend more than I was earning. So I would always have to use some of my MasterCard and get into that debt every month. But eventually I managed to stop doing that and make sure that I was not spending more than I was earning, basically. I started my investing journey late in life. I invested in Bitcoin in 2014, and I started investing in the stock market when I was around 37. And some people might call that late. And investing wise, it is late. It's always better the earlier you start. But one of the main takes from this is that it's never too late to start. No matter where you are on your journey, then remember it's never too late to start. I started late in life, and I'm happy that I started late than never. Another thing that was important for me to do was to actually make sacrifices. If I wanted to make my money grow for me, not only did I have to get rid of debt and start investing, but I also had to save by making sacrifices. There are some things that are necessary, and then there are some things that are nice to have and fun to have. So how much and how fast your money can grow depends on two perspectives. The first perspective is when you start off. Do you start off later in life like me? Or do you start off early, like say in your 20s? If you start off in your 20s, you have a much better chance of making much more money, saving much more money, and living more comfortably, and even being quite rich later in life. If you're like me and you start off later, you can be able to live comfortably. You can be able to save quite a lot. But all of this, whether you're starting off when you're young or you're starting off when you're older, it also depends on other factors. And one of those factors is, are you able to get money coming in? That is an important factor. Another factor is, do you have any debt? And if you have a lot of debts, is that manageable? Or should you look into getting rid of some of that debt? But I also had to make some sacrifices to be able to save money and make money grow. I love certain things. I love treating myself to certain things. But I know that if I treat myself to everything that I want now, then that will set me off to a much worse financial situation later in life. And I don't want that. So I've had to make sacrifices. There are certain things that I do not spend my money on. I spend my money on a simple haircut, but I do not spend my money on any highlights or coloring in a hair studio. If I do want to color my hair, then I do it simply by doing it myself, and it's the cheapest alternative, and it will do for now. It's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make for now. Another thing I do not spend my money on are my nails. I also work as a nurse, and we have to keep our nails short anyway, and we aren't allowed to have any nail polish on anyway. So it's not a big deal for me to have my nails done, and it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to do anyway. But what I do spend my money on sometimes is to keep my body in a good shape and in good health. So I spend my money in a gym membership and in good facials and good facial products. And those are the things that I'm willing to invest in. I see that as long-term investments where I can stay healthy in the long run by keeping my body and skin healthy. You basically have to decide for yourself what you're willing to sacrifice, depending on what your goal is. If your goal is to be financially free by a young age, or have more money to spend when you retire, then there are certain sacrifices that you have to make to be able to reach those goals. I wish there was a way to get both, but there is not. And there are certain exceptions to that, but they are mainly exceptions. The fun part comes now. The fun part is making your money grow for you. This is the part that I enjoy the most. Yes, it's hard to make the sacrifices, but when I see what those sacrifices can bloom into, that's when I am really excited. Your money can work for you in different ways. They can work for you through investing, either through stocks, ETFs, and index funds, or they can grow through investing in property, or you can invest money in starting a business. There are basically many ways that you can make your money grow for you. The concept is to make something or invest in something where that money starts working whilst you're sleeping, instead of that money just being put into a normal account with no interest, where inflation is basically eating up your purchasing power year by year. That is like the worst case scenario. So as soon as you earn your money, then I would put that money into work, and I would Google and research ways to make that money work for me. My money is working through investing in the stock market and through property and through letting out my flat through Airbnb. So to sum up, it's never too late to start. Always get rid of bad debt. You have to make certain sacrifices. Always make your money work for you, and compounding is your best friend. So with that in mind, thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.